Do you want to know how to talk to a child about a sick grandparent? I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting, good communication, how to build strong family bonds, child development, and education, all through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we're talking about sensitive conversations about a sick grandparent. In this video, we're going to be talking about why it is difficult to have these types of sensitive conversations and how to have a conversation about a sick grandparent with a child with honesty, calmness, some clear communication to help them have some really healthy processing. Children process things like death and sickness with fear and uncertainty. They have a bit of anxiety about it. They're young. They haven't experienced terminal illness or a type of an illness that might take weeks, months, or years to go through and overcome. This can be very unsettling for a child. So what can we do as parents to help them be able to understand what's going on with their grandparent? You have to understand something special about a child's bond with their grandparents. People are understanding more and more all the time now because there are studies that are actually being done about the healthy relationships that grandchildren can have with their grandparents that don't only lead to increased health for the grandparent, but lead to increased security, identity, and life focus for the child or adolescent. So what happens then if a grandparent is maybe experiencing an illness that is uncertain, that the child doesn't know if the grandparent is going to be okay? Well, this can create an amount of personal uncertainty. They can question their own strength, their own ability to get through this hardship when someone that they love is experiencing such a difficult thing. Grandchildren love to serve their grandparents. When they see a grandparent struggling with an illness, especially if it's a terminal illness, they want to be able to take it away, do something fun, happy, loving to help that grandparent feel better again. For children, their problems come and go so quickly that they often hope that a sickness could come and go quickly with their grandparent as well. However, we all know that the older we get, sometimes the more lasting an illness can be. So let's talk about how to have these delicate conversations with our children in a way that's honest, calm, and helps our children feel emotionally safe while they're maintaining attachment to their grandparents. We want our children to have attachment to their grandparents, whether the grandparent is sick or even whether the grandparent is still living or not. That attachment, that bond between the grandchild and the grandparent is so incredibly healthy and useful for both grandparent and for the grandchild. So it's super important to recognize that we want to be nurturing connection rather than avoidance. Sometimes grandchildren can feel afraid of what a grandparent might look like if they have bandages on them, if they have IVs, if there's certain medical procedures that they have to go through, if they're not dressed the same, if they're in a bed instead of standing up or sitting on a couch. These might all be things that are unsettling to a grandchild. And the grandchild might inadvertently start to avoid the grandparent because they don't know how to handle it. They also don't know what to say. They want to be comforting to their grandparent, but they don't know how to do it at this difficult time. So what we need to do is help our child be able to have good connection during this time. One thing that I would be focusing on is helping them have eye contact, helping them pray for their grandparent because that leads to good connection with them, whether they can be with them or not, because maybe the grandparent is in a hospital, children can't visit, something like that might be happening. Help them feel like they can still bond and connect with that grandparent. When at all possible, if the child cannot be with the grandparent, in order to maintain this connection, Have video calls with a grandparent, or at least audio calls where the grandchild can say something to the grandparent, even if the grandparent cannot speak at the time because maybe they have things in their mouth because the illness or the medical procedures are so intense. At least the grandchild can know that their grandparent is hearing them. They can say how much they love them. It's also okay to explain to your grandchild that it's okay to cry. I think sometimes they don't want to cry because they don't want to worry their grandparent. Oftentimes if they cry, the grandparent then is there giving comfort to them. But they don't want to make the grandparent have to serve them at a time when they're not feeling good. And so they sometimes worry and have fear about crying, and let them know that it's okay to cry or to worry and to even express concern to a grandparent when they happen to be dealing with an illness, especially a terminal illness. Because those conversations can actually be very healing between grandparent and grandchild. The grandparent can give more strength, security, confidence to be able to handle the situation to the grandchild, especially if they know that the situation is not going to end in a restoration of their health. When I have a conversation with a child about something as sensitive as a grandparent having an illness, I'm going to make sure that the conversation is done in a very delicate, private kind of a way. So I'm not going to have a conversation with my child in front of other people. Why is that the case? Because I want to make sure that my child knows that they can share their feelings, thoughts, and concerns with me. And if it's private, if it's one-on-one, then they'll feel like they can open up to me. If it's in front of my friends and neighbors and people at school, they're not going to feel like they can say anything, and then I won't know how best to help them through this time. So make sure that you set aside a time where you can have a good one-on-one chat with your child. Don't make it seem heavy, make it seem comfortable and light. Before having this type of a conversation, if you're a praying person, I highly recommend having a prayer to make sure that you have the Spirit with you, to be able to have discernment, to say the things that your child is going to need to hear at this time to feel okay. When I open the conversation, I'll probably just get right to the point. I'll say something like, I'm sure you've noticed that Grandma hasn't been feeling very well lately, or we haven't seen as much as Grandma lately, something that they might have recognized. And then I would say, now I don't want you to be overly concerned, but I want you to know the truth. And the truth is Grandma has cancer right now, or Grandma has an illness that's going to take a long time to overcome. Let me explain to you what cancer is. Or let me explain to you what this illness is, or this procedure that Grandma is having, and why she needs to have it. And then let's talk about what type of support Grandma is going to need. She's going to need to know that we care about her and we love her. She's going to want to know how we feel about what's happening to her so that she can give us her own thoughts and understanding about this issue. So we need to make sure that we have regular conversations with Grandma. Let's make a plan for how we're going to talk with her, visit her, and serve her. When a child starts to cry or worrying in the conversation, make sure that you stay calm, that you stay safe, that you're the type of person that says, that's okay. It's actually healthy to cry and to feel worry about somebody that you love. I've cried too. And I felt worried too because I love Grandpa or I love Grandma so much. And it's a healthy thing to feel sorrow and sadness when you love someone so much. So I would give them a hug. I would talk about feelings, but then I would bring in a self-government skill. So this is the Teaching Self-Government channel. On this channel, I talk all about skills and principles of child rearing and parenting that help parents and children all be able to have better self-government. I usually talk about skills of self-government, and this video is no exception. There is a skill of self-government that is incredibly useful during this time. It is the skill called accepting no answers. When you find out that someone is ill, that is a sadness. That is a letdown. It feels like someone told you no. You don't want that person to be ill, but they are. So that is a no answer. So what are the steps to accepting a no answer? I have a set of children's books. I've actually written a lot of parenting books for the parents, but these books, as well as my set of 3 Calm books, are for children. These teach the 4 basic skills of self-government, which are following instructions, accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences, and disagreeing appropriately. This book here, Porter Earns a Quarter, teaches the skill accepting no answers. Now, you need all 4 of these skills to actually be self-governing and be in full control of your emotions and be regulated on a regular basis. But this book here is the one that I would recommend reading first, especially if you are having conversations about a sick grandparent. There are 4 steps to accepting a no answer that help a person stay calm, connected, be able to drop the subject when there is disappointing information that they have to process. When your child learns to accept a no answer, they should be able to be more calm and confident during this time of sickness. When they learn how to drop the subject, they should feel more equipped to handle interactions with grandma. So dropping the subject means that we let go of the worry and the concern. We might discuss it, talk about it, but then we say, okay, I'm not going to spend my time being overly concerned or worrying. This will make it so that your child is able to think about taking steps forward instead of getting stuck in the past. That's one of the real beauties about accepting a no answer. The other thing too is learning how to self-regulate and choose calmness. I'm sure you'd probably like to learn more about this skill and others. There is a video that I highly recommend you watching next. It's a full class all about teaching self-government skills to children. That class is called The Not So Known Secret for Parenting Success. Click on the link to that video next. I'll see you there.